All right. Well, I mean, look, good into our spring. The best thing for our spring is we got out of spring pretty healthy. We had some guys that didn't go through spring, but they were out from the start. Tonight we tried to have some fun. We divided up the team so you didn't have the number one offense, number one defense, or any of that, which prevented some challenges in certain spots, but also let the guys have some fun. Thought you could see our defense is picking kind of up where it left off, which is good. We feel like we did make some plays. Kamar had a great run. We made some catches down the field. Stone, obviously, at the end, that was pretty cool. It'll be great when we get our O-line healthy and then we kind of get intact. I feel like we had a good spring. I feel like we got better. And like I said, we stayed healthy. And as you can see, our guys had a good time together. And so kind of phase 2 for us is done being spring ball. And we got about 3 weeks in finals, and then we'll get ready to have a great summer.
Added in Jonathan Jefferson, and it seemed like he had a huge impact just on this game. I know it's a spring game, but when someone can come in and make that much of an impact, what was that?
Well, I think you can see, we lost 3 of our top 4 interior guys and added 4 already. We got some more coming, and those guys made an impact. And Jonathan had a great night. It's hard sometimes when the quarterbacks aren't live, whether they got them or they not. Our guys do a great job of taking care of the QBs and pulling off, and so there probably was several sacks I didn't call. But yeah, I think. Again, you've got to win at the line of scrimmage, especially where we're going to play 10-plus games at the caliber we're going to play. And so having that depth and having those guys is a big deal for us.
Rhett, the receivers tonight, some really good catches, a couple of drops, but not the one that really stuck out to me was Roderick's catch over the middle there. I mean, that's a grown man's catch you got to make in the ACC.
Yeah, you saw, Junior, we call him Junior. Roderick, he's super tough. The catch he made against Tulane last year was incredible. So his toughness is never in question for him for a smaller guy. Moochie made a great touchdown catch. I think Jordan Hudson had one. He was just out, had another one. Mello dropped one early. You're right, we dropped a few, but we were on point. I thought Kevin threw some really good balls that either the defender made a good play or we didn't finish. So, we know we have playmaking ability. And to your point, across the middle with some guys, Jake Bailey making plays. We've got to get better, though, at finishing through the catch. We still drop some, and, we have high expectations for this receivers group. They're really talented. I think they believe in themselves. We're going to give them chances. And they did finish Sunday night. We'd like them to finish all of them.
You talked about all these transfers. You're saying the way of doing things here, like Deuce Harmon, Jonathan Jefferson, those types of guys, just understanding how it is that you guys conduct business.
Yeah.
How do you think they've been from the opening day of spring ball to how you all are finishing tonight?
They've gotten a lot better, and they've done a good job. They've done a good job of following the guys that have been here. And in a weird way, in this transition of the portal era, we have a lot of guys returning that may have been transfers last year that now have been here a year, and they've helped them know how we do things. And that's what you want. You want guys to come in and buy into the kind of the culture and how we do things. But I think you look at a guy like Deuce, he probably struggled really bad the first 4, 5, 6 days, and then he was much better at the end. It just takes some time to get used to how we do things and being here. And he had been injured in the past, so and same thing with Jefferson and a bunch of guys. So I think we're coming together. We're by anywhere near where we got to be, nor should we be at this point. But I am pleased with just the camaraderie and how guys are buying into what we do.
The offensive line was one of those that maybe got hurt a little bit by splitting up.
Oh, yeah.
But how do you kind of evaluate those guys and that unit as a whole?
We had a good spring, obviously, with Logan Parr and Ben Sparks being out and some guys that are coming in that aren't here yet. The depth was thin all spring, but when we went normal practices with that first unit, we did a really good job. I think we're much more athletic at tackle. We pass protect really well between Savion and PJ Williams. We got some guys that can rush the passer, and we did a nice job in most practices. He hadn't had a bad snap all spring hardly, and then he had 2 tonight, but I thought Justin Osborne going to center did an excellent job. We're very athletic there. Again, he can play all 5. Ja'Kai Clark's down a lot of weight. I thought Nate Anderson was one of those guys who got really much better as spring went on. So those guys took a bulk of the reps with the ones in normal practices. We split them up tonight, but they were starting to get some continuity. So we feel like when we get those injured guys back and some others in, we'll have the depth that we need, even if maybe at times it didn't look that way tonight.
From start of spring to tonight, where have you seen the most progress, and has there been any person or any group that has surprised you this spring?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think probably on the defensive side of the ball, the most progress was made with the defensive tackle position, which makes sense because majority of those guys, except for Corey Robertson, Sanjo, and Allen, they're all new. So when you got 3 or 4 new guys, picking everything up, I thought they got better and better, and we saw that tonight. It's particularly just playing the run. Early on in spring, we were running the ball probably better than we need to. against our front, and we did a much better job there. I think on offense, I know, again, it's hard in this setting for you to see it. I think the offensive lines, particularly at tackle, we're just more athletic. I think when they have a whole summer and fall camp, you know, in the run game, we'll continue to get better, but we're in position, which we're going to need to be in the league we're going to be in, to do a better job in pass pro when we have to, and I thought that was an area we got a lot better at.
I know Preston wasn't fully cleared till this week. With the limited spring he had, was he able to do enough to where it wasn't like he lost a lot of ground in spring ball this year?
You know, I mean, he didn't really get to go through spring in general, which is never good. I mean, it's, you know, he had a really good year last year, and you'd love to go into spring and try to improve on areas you want to get better and, you know, continue to get continuity and timing with your team. And he just wasn't given that opportunity. Now, the positive of it is Kevin did get those opportunities. And again, a guy like Kevin and Keldrick are going to suffer on a night like tonight when you disjoint the units and you don't have the same kind of receivers and O-line all rolling together. And I thought Kevin had a good spring, and it afforded him all those opportunities. Now, the positive on Preston, from pretty much the first day, he was at least able to go out there and warm up. And then they slowly progressed him. He did get officially cleared this week. Now, I mean, he hadn't been practicing, so saying cleared versus going out and doing 11 on 11, it made no sense because he hadn't been in that kind of condition and shape. But what it tells you is, you know, he'll be fully healthy to go into summer and go through the summer programs and the summer workouts and fall camp with his teammates. So that's a positive.
When you've got experienced groups in the defensive backs, you have guys like Abdul Muhammad and AJ Davis have really strong springs coming show here. What does that do for you guys? What does that show you when guys who maybe weren't your going to be the first choices kind of show out in the setting?
Well, that's what it's all about. I mean, look, this time a year ago, we were coming off our first season, and Isaiah Wacobia was really nowhere to be found. And look what he ended up doing last year, you know, being arguably our best player over there and MVP of the championship game and all those things. You know, the question got asked earlier, and I should have thought about it. AJ Davis, I thought, was maybe one of the most improved players on the entire team. And we need that. You know, we need some guys to step up at corner. We lost our experience. We got some guys who can run and athletic, but they don't have a lot of experience. And, you know, whether it's Jalen Davis, Robinson, Deuce, AJ Davis, Jahari, we moved Teddy over there. Like, those guys have the skill set to do it, but they got to come on quick. And so a guy like AJ, and then I think you mentioned Abdul as well, that's what it's for, developing either starters or depth. You're going to need it all where we're going. All these guys have to play.
What do you think about the decal with the pony with the balloon and what it means to have that on?
It's awesome. You know, Annabelle did a great job on that design. She put the coin out there, did a heck of a job. I mean, I think we started that a year ago. I think it's a great tradition here, a great way to honor all the young men and women at Children's that have overcome things or are currently battling things. And, you know, our players enjoy wearing those designs and seeing what the new design is each year. So we're really appreciative of her and for that partnership.
Rhett, Kamar, we see the really good in him with a 54-yard touchdown run. The disappointment with the fumble there. You obviously ruled yourself, but what do you see, what is you're going to have to see from him if he's going to be that consistent back that you think he can be capable of becoming?
I think you said the word consistent, and I know it's a boring answer, but like, the touchdown run was great, and even the run he fumbled was a really good run until he fumbled. I think to the naked eye, sometimes people say, man, just look at him run. There's never been a question on his God-given running ability. And so, you know, he's made strides, but hey, can you put it all together, knowing the plays, knowing the protections, doing all the other things. But I think you saw the explosion on the run. On the fumble, I thought it was out live. They kind of blew it, so I went and asked officials. I said, hey, if it was a game, would that have been a reviewable play? And they said yes, and at the time the game was 13-3, and so it's like, I go, do you care? And they go, it's your show. I said, okay, great, it's overturned. We're going that way. But we had two fumbles tonight that were bang-bang. They called them both down live. I'm not sure if they would have been. So that's one of those things from a ball security standpoint. We got to be better.
No Keyshawn today. Anything to update?
Keyshawn will be fine. He's probably one of the few guys. Keyshawn sprained his knee a week or so ago. Nothing surgical. He's going to make a full recovery. Should be 100% by the time we start our summer workouts into May, early June. I think Jackson Lavender was just out with an illness. He'll be fine. There wasn't a lot of other guys that we held that haven't been out, I don't think. But we do feel fortunate. We didn't lose anybody in spring to a critical season-ending injury.
Is there anybody whose injury makes August camp in jeopardy?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, Logan Parr and Ben Sparks are both on track. They're, you know, are they going to be full day one of camp? I don't know in terms of contact. You know, we'll have to, I think there's a path to that. there's also a chance that, you know, we're kind of going through camp, walking them through the first game of the year, 2 or 3. But they're slated to get back by August or early September. And we just, you know, obviously with Logan we had to, and felt like the same thing with Ben. A lot of the guys on the defensive side should be back. Braden Flowers should be back. Jaden Jones, Massey, a lot of those guys are on track to be back, either totally recovered by fall camp or at least partially participating.
Knowing what you know about your depth of this team and what you're walking into, we talk about it so much, where do you think that's at right now? And is there something you need to look at portal-wise to make you feel better once you guys kick it off in August?
Well, that's a good question. I think that's what we were able to evaluate in spring. You know, I think we feel really good that when we're all healthy, our starting O-line is going to be a really good unit, but we do need some depth there. You know, we got some depth at the tight end position, I think, coming, which was needed. So I think on offense, you look at that, that's probably the main areas. When you go to the defensive side of the ball, I think we've done a nice job in the box. We've got some experienced guys at safeties, but, you know, we could add a depth piece there. And then, again, we got guys in corner who can run, but, you know, we're going to need depth there because we're an injury or 2 away from being really thin. So I think we have a good idea. And then, you know, also we just got to see what happens here. I mean, we feel good about our culture and our roster and the guys here, and they have a good time together. But it's a new day in college football. So April 16th it opens up, and we'll see who's going to be here, and I hope most of them are. I think they will be, and you know, we got a few spots we can fill, and it will be nice to get into May and kind of start to slowly have a good idea who's going to be on the roster. But we'll wait till then, and then we'll make the most of it. But yeah, I think those areas we need depth.
How do you feel this team is right now versus maybe where you guys were at the end of the spring game last year?
It's a good question. You know, I think we're ahead of where we were last year on defense, and we should be. A lot of guys returning year 2, a lot of confidence. I mean, it's hard to substitute anything for confidence, and those guys believe in what we do on defense. They believe in that coaching staff, and I think it shows how they fly around and just execute what we're doing, and the depth we have, especially up front. We're going to need it. And so I think we're probably a little bit ahead of the game there. Offensively, probably the same. You know, I think in some areas, like the spring was really, really good for Kevin Jennings, because while we've seen him for 2 years go in games and be awesome, he still only played in 2 full games and a couple spots. So to get 15 full practices under his belt was really, really good. And then Keldrick Luster, he, you know, true freshman, didn't get a lot of opportunity in the fall, which is normal. I thought he had a really good spring, and really has shown just a calmness and a command of what we're doing. So offense probably about the same. You know, I think we've got experience at the skill spot, running back, tight end, and QB. And so it's just going to be a matter of we've moved some guys around up front and then just developing that depth, but probably about where we were.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. Appreciate you.